It is the season to get rid of books. Hey, what's up? My name is Daniela and today we are doing a bit of a unhaul vlog style. So I just officially hauled my Christmas books, the books I got for Christmas, and my shelves are just a bit of a mess. So we're going to go through them. Also, tomorrow I'm going to a book swap event. So I just need to find some victims that I will bring with me. And overall, I think I will be getting rid of quite a lot, which I will talk about the reasons a bit more later. But for now, let's just look at the shelves and we will go one by one. Okay, so this is the TBR. So obviously, those will be staying because I just got them for Christmas. And then this is just, you know, textbooks and cookbooks. Then over here we have favorites and also some books I really enjoyed and I want to reread them before probably unhauling them. And then this is the Project TBR project plus a few books that I have already reread this year. And then these two are my current reads. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty is also a reread. So I think this time I won't be like completely gutting the bookshelves and taking absolutely everything out, although I probably will because, you know, they get dusty so quickly. So yeah, I should probably dust as well. But yeah, especially the TBR Project Zero shelf, I will be definitely going one by one. It suddenly got super dark here. It's 3:30 in the afternoon, but luckily it seems that the camera is like making it more light, so hopefully it's fine. But yeah, I made some piles. So here we have things that I will be getting rid of, and I'm sure about that, and some of them I will probably take to the event tomorrow because it's mostly adult books. Yeah, all of them are adult. These are young adults that I'm getting rid of, but I'm going to ask my niece first if she would like some. And then these survived like the first round, but I think for some of them I just need to leaf through them a bit more, decide if I want to keep them for reference, etc. So we might get back to them, but let's go through this pile first. Okay, so all of these except for one were a part of my Project TBR Zero. So if you've watched my videos recently, you saw most of them recently. But the one that isn't is Begin Again by Helly Action. So I read this last year, gave this 5 stars, and now I have just reread it and I still gave it 5 stars. So it is that good. So this is a contemporary with a sci-fi twist, and it's one of those books that kind of give the main character the opportunity to like live different lives, try out different lives. Frankie, the main character, dies because she slips on a kebab, and yeah, she has the opportunity to try out different lives. This one was just really fun, but also thought-provoking. This time while rereading it, I guess I was really in my feelings about some things, and so it actually made me cry. I don't think I cried first time. So yeah, you kind of get a lot with this book. Tears, laughter, whatever you want. The trying out different lives is one of my favorite tropes these days. There is a possibility that I could reread this book sometime down the line, but I think that for now, having read it twice, like in 12 months, I guess, I think for now I'm good. I probably shouldn't talk that much about each book because otherwise we could be here for a while. But the next book I'm getting rid of is Oh, This Could Be Different by Sarah Matthews. So this is an adult contemporary about a young woman who is moving to a new town. She doesn't know anybody there. She is an immigrant, and it's about her life and queerness and community and a lot more. Yeah, it's very slice of life, not much happens in this book, but I did enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars. But yeah, I definitely don't feel the need to reread it. Next, Tipping the Velvet by Sarah Waters. So I think by this point we could call this a sapphic classic. It came out in 1998 and it is a historical fiction set in the UK, in England, set near the end of the 19th century. And this book destroyed me a little bit. It was a lot. We follow a young girl who is, I guess, 17 at the beginning, and she falls in love with the girl. They go to London and all kinds of stuff happens in London. Yeah, this one packs a punch. It packs a lot. I would recommend it. Do I think I'm going to reread it? I don't think so, no. And now I'm a little bit scared to read more books by Sarah Waters. It is really good though. I gave it 4. Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howard. Another sapphic one. Another very angsty one. We follow a teenage girl in rural Ireland who is very much struggling with the fact that she's desperately in love with her best friend. I also really enjoyed this one. Again, not much happens. It's very character driven, and at times it can be a bit frustrating, but yeah, it's a good one. Then we have Mr. Loverman by Bernardine Evaristo. So this one is about an old grumpy man. He comes from Antigua, has lived in London his whole adult life, and now in his 70s he might finally tell his wife that he's actually gay and he's been having an affair with his best friend for their whole lives. This one is so good. Great writing, compelling characters, although a bit, again, frustrating because the main character is grumpy and very misogynistic, but I would very much recommend it. Gave it 5 stars. But reading this one was probably enough. The Underground Railroad by Colston Whitehead. So this is a historical fiction about Cora, who is a slave and she escapes, and we follow her journey. This was heartbreaking and very good. Gave it 4 stars. I definitely won't be reading it. And then we have The 13th Tale by Diana Setterfield. An unknown author is contacted by a very famous author and she's supposed to write her biography. She goes to her mansion. So this one was absolutely brilliant. Amazing writing, great story, kind of a ghost vibes. I gave this 5 stars, even though like I wasn't super keen on it, but everyone kept saying that it's really good. So I'm another person that is saying that it's really good. So even though it doesn't sound super appealing, I think you should pick it up. So this is my final choice to bring to the swap. Now I'm not fully sure if you're only supposed to bring 1 book or several books and how exactly it's going to work, so we're just going to see. But yes, these 4 I'm ready to part with today, potentially. It's actually been a few weeks. Sometimes it is like that and things got a little bit complicated, so let's talk and let's catch up. So my piles are still here. It got a little bit messy because I was making some short form videos and the piles just get super messy when I do that, and yeah, I'm not even sure what books I already talked about, but editing me will sort that out. This is still my current read pile that is usually here, you know, like next to my bed, and all of these books obviously usually aren't here. Okay, so let's talk about the book swap first, because I mentioned it earlier and then didn't update you how it went, and yeah, it has been 2 weeks now. So the event was super fun, so I didn't really know what to expect, but it was just a super chill gathering of maybe like 15 to 20 women here in Prague. They were mostly foreigners or just people who live here temporarily or permanently. People who read mostly in English. Makes more sense to me than trying to join a Czech group, because I don't read in Czech. Like 99% of my reading is in English, so when it comes to talking about books and swapping books, like an English speaking group is where it is at for me, so that was perfect. So we had a couple of tables reserved in a cafe, And yes, it was quite informal, so when everybody came in, we kind of put the books we brought on the table, and then anyone could take anything. It wasn't like exactly one book for one book, so yes, it was very chill. Everyone was super friendly. I had some really nice conversations with some people. I met some cool people there, so I'm so glad I went. I ended up bringing 3 of the books that I showed you. So I brought Tipping the Velvet, The 13th Tale, and Begin Again, and it got snatched up, which I was happy about. So I hope the girlies will like them. And I took 2 books. So yeah, I will show them to you later, I guess, when I show you like the final shelves. But mostly I just really love the community aspect about it and talking about books and life and everything, and the books were kind of like an added bonus. And this event happens monthly, so I already signed up for the February one. And so yeah, I would like to attend like many times this year, ideally. So that's where it complicates my unhauling a little bit, because normally when I unhaul books, I'm used to just taking them out of my apartment ASAP. But this way, like obviously if I want to attend like most months, it would be very nice to have a couple of books on hand that I can bring to the swap. I do expect that like every month I will have a couple of books that I read in that month, and maybe, you know, I don't want to keep, because I don't keep like 90% of the books I read. But I don't know, like some months it can also happen that I will be reading ebooks and library books. So I don't really want to, you know, rely on that. So I will probably like just try to have like a couple of books like always on hand, so that I can go to swap and not stress about not having any books that I want to part with at that moment. And the number I brought, the fact that I brought 3 books, I think was pretty perfect, because I think most people brought like maybe between like 2 books and 5 books. So yeah, I will just decide which of these I will just keep separately and that won't be going out of my apartment right now. The next update is that my niece got back to me about if she wanted any of my young adult books that I'm getting rid of, and she said that she would take like 5 of them, which I'm super happy about. Yeah, it's so lovely that she reads and that she's interested in the books that I'm reading, and yeah, I'm just so happy that I can pass these books to her. So let's look at these. So first we have Ramona Blue by Julie Murphy. So yeah, I think all of these, yes, all of these I read for the TBR0 project, so they were pretty recent reads. So this is a young adult contemporary about a girl who is into girls, but then she kind of falls in love with a former childhood friend who is a boy. So now she's kind of figuring out her identity and, you know, if the romance can work, and also family situation is difficult, stuff like that. I enjoyed it, but I definitely won't be rereading it, so it can go to my niece. Then we have Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. So this is my least favorite book of the TBR project, but I still liked it fine. I gave it 3 stars. So in this we follow this high school boy, and he finds himself in a time loop, so there's a little bit of a sci-fi element, and he basically goes back to time repeatedly to try to save his chronically ill crush. Then we have Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. So I adore Talia Hibbert. This one didn't quite meet my sky-high expectations, but nonetheless it was a super cute, super sweet young adult contemporary with a romance. We have a competition element. They have to do some wilderness trials to win a scholarship. We have an OCD rep, we have plus size rep, so it was a lovely book. Then we have The Henna Wars by Adiba Jaygoda. So this is another young adult contemporary about a girl who comes out to her parents as a lesbian, and it doesn't go well. And then there's also high school drama. She gets outed, and then there is this complicated budding romance between her and her competitor in this school competition. This book was really great. It had some really good discussions Also, the main character is Bengali Irish, which is a representation that I definitely haven't read before, and this author has multiple super cute looking young adult sapphic romances, so I will definitely be interested in those, but I don't think I will be rereading this one. And lastly in this pile we have She Gets the Girl by Rachel Lippincott and Alison Derrick. So this one I thought I might be rereading, but now I'm thinking that I'm probably fine and that I'm okay with passing this one on. So this is another young adult contemporary romance, and we have two girls who strike an unlikely friendship their first year in college. They kind of start working together to help each other with their respective goals, and each of the girls is interested in another girl, but obviously, as you might suspect, it is eventually their romance. This one I really loved. I gave it 5 stars. It discusses some difficult topic along the fact that it's like super fun and super enjoyable. So it also talks about toxic relationships and neglect from parents and internalized racism and low income alcoholism, that kind of stuff. I had high expectations for this book and I think my expectations were exceeded, so yeah, I definitely highly recommend this one. So yeah, these are the books that are going to my niece. I'm also super happy about the fact that all of them are diverse, and so hopefully she will like them. And yeah, these will be going out next week actually, so yes, I should be able to get rid of these pretty soon. Okay, let's continue with the unhaul because there is more. So to switch it up, let's talk about some books that I recently reread. These were some of my favorites that I gave 5 stars to, and so I was mostly keeping them to reread them and then decide like if I'm going to keep them for the next round of rereading or not, and I decided that not. So first we have Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. So this is book 1 in the Bible series. This is one of my favorite series of sapphic adult romances, especially books 1 and 2. So as I said, I gave this 5 stars the first time, and I just reread it in January and I gave it 5 stars again. It is just an amazing sapphic romance and I love this world and all of the characters so much. So in this one we follow Delilah Green, and her upbringing was really tough because both of her parents died by the time she turned 10, and she grew up with her stepmom who wasn't really warm, and then her stepsister, and they also didn't really find their way to each other. So now she's an adult, she moved from her small town and she's trying to build her career as a photographer in New York. But then she's invited by her family to go back to a small town to be the photographer for her sister's wedding, and she really needs the money, so she goes, and she thinks that the only thing that will happen is that she grabs the money and she will annoy the sister, do her job, but she unexpectedly falls in love with her sister's best friend. And the best friend is Claire Sutherland, a single mom, a bookstore owner who is the most stunning, hot and kindest person I have probably read about, and I would very much like to have a character like this in my life in any capacity. Like, I will take what I can get. Yeah, I absolutely adore Claire, and I have a soft spot for Delilah as well. I love them together. I love the friend group. Yes, it is just so good. So why am I getting rid of it, you might ask, if I love it so much? Well, for one thing, as we have kind of established in this video or in previous videos, I'm not in a phase of my life where I would be building any collections, so we are getting rid of even of our favorite books. Also, this copy unfortunately got damaged because like there's like a kind of like thin foil that was peeling. It hasn't even happened to me before that, I think, but like yeah. So I started peeling it off and it looked like it was coming off super easily until we came like to the spine, and unfortunately like the pictures and the font on the spine got damaged, and then there's still like the foil. And it just really annoys me, so I will get rid of this copy somehow. Not sure what I will do with it, but like in either case, you know, if I would be like creating a sapphic shelf or something in the future, I would like copy that is not damaged. So this one can definitely go. Then I also have book 2 on my TBR, well, not TBR. I have book 2 on my shelf, which is staying there because I want to reread it, and then it will probably follow. Then in the same category, 5 stars, reread it in January, absolutely loved it the second time around. As much as I did the first time, is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akveki Emezi. First of all, a moment of appreciation for this cover, which I absolutely love. It's like the best cover of this book. Also, a moment of appreciation for the title, which is a lyric from Florence and the Machine song. And as it happens, well, for one thing, my channel name is a reference to a Florence and the Machine song. If you didn't know, she has a song called Only for a Night. So I wish that more people listen to it, because it is good, and then also because my channel name might not be so hard to like remember and pronounce. And second, I just got tickets to see Florence and the Machine in March in Prague, which I'm super excited about. So in January it was just, you know, Florence and appreciation of this book, and it all kind of came together. This is an adult romance. It is a super messy book. It is a book that is amazingly written. The writing is so stunning and just really unflinching and real. We have our main character Faye, and her husband unfortunately died in an accident a couple of years ago, and she is just starting to, you know, date again or have some kind of rebound. So she kind of does that, and then she meets this man who is a walking red flag, and like, fear not, he's not the main love interest, because eventually Faye falls for another man that, as it happens, it is not that ideal to fall for him. And I won't really say more. If you really want to know like which trope this book has, look it up. This time around when rereading it, I just really couldn't with the red flag man. Like, it was so horrible to read about him. So be warned that there is some abuse and some homophobia. Again, obviously not from the main love interest. It is one of my favorite books. It is one of my favorite romances between a man and a woman. Also, both of them are bi, which is also very nice. And yeah, I still haven't read anything else by this author, which is criminal, and I should rectify that. But in the meantime, this book can go into the world, and hopefully it will find its people who will appreciate it as much as I did twice. Then we have the most stunning book in my collection, probably, and that is Wash Day Diaries by Jamila Roser and Robin Smith. So this is a graphic novel, an absolutely stunning graphic novel with like the most amazing color scheme. I absolutely adored this graphic novel. I also read it twice. I haven't reread it that recently, but yeah, I had an absolute blast the both times I read it. This is about a friend group of black people, and so we learn about their lives and what's currently happening. This also has depression, racism, also a toxic relationship, and just all kinds of things, and it is all tied together with the segments about hair care, of black hair, and their friendships. And yeah, I absolutely adore this friendship group, and the way they were there for each other. That is the dream. With this one, I was considering for a long time that I would just keep it as like one of the core books that I might keep, even though like right now I'm not sure if I'm keeping like any books actually. Like eventually, well, I will talk about it a bit more later. But then I thought that I just want this book to go into the world, and I want more people to experience it. So I will do that, and then maybe in the future, maybe it will find its way to me again. But yeah, it is so stunning. I feel like I should speed it up a little bit so that we are not here for 2 hours. But I have probably the final stack for now of books that I'm getting rid of, and these are all from the TBR0 project. So very recent reads. So first we have 2 Christmas books. So we have The Christmas Pub by Talia Samuels. This is an adult sapphic romance that has the twist of, or like trope of, two people, man and a woman, fake dating, and then the woman falls for his sister. This was also wonderfully messy and yeah, a bit of a divisive book. I think like it has a super low rating, but I ended up loving it. The main characters, you know, I liked both of them, even though yes, some things were a little bit messy. Again, we have like an emotional abusive ex of one of the girls, women, which is interesting that it has been in so many books that I read recently, but I'm really glad that it is in a lot of books, because if people can read a lot of books about emotional abuse and all of the flavors it can have, if people can recognize the red flags and actually listen to them and act on them before it's maybe a bit too late, if people can share the red flags with their friends and then listen to their friends and avoid being in this situation, then I would be very happy, you know. So I always just love seeing this topic in books. Then we have 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. So this is another super cute young adult contemporary with the Christmas theme, and we have a girl that before Christmas unexpectedly broke up with her boyfriend because he was being a dickhead, and then her family sets her up for 10 blind dates. This was published in 2019 and kind of gave me the nostalgic feeling that some young adult books that are set in this period or written in this period give me, so it was just super fun. So yeah, we're sending it to the world. Then we have a memoir, and we have Strong Female Character by Farron Brady. So I don't really know her as a comedian, but in this memoir she mostly talks about her childhood, bringing up, teenagehood, also adulthood as a late diagnosed autistic woman. So while I appreciated that, I don't need it. Then we also have Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. We follow the life of 4 sisters and their mother, while the father has been drafted to participate in the Civil War. And while I really appreciated this book and I'm glad I finally read it and it was super lovely, I don't need to keep it, and I probably won't even continue with the series. I wanted to talk about the next book, and then in real time I changed my mind and I probably won't be getting rid of it for now. So let's move on. Let's put that aside. And let's talk about a book that I am getting rid of, and that is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. This is a classic. It is a classic for a reason, and I'm so glad that I finally read it. So in this one we have a young woman, and she has been abused first by her father figure, then by her husband, and she now lives in this unhappy abusive marriage. But then she meets a woman, and that woman kind of changes everything for her. So she learns about her sexuality, her identity, who to be like outside of these circumstances. I really like this one. I love seeing the character growth and also the companionship of the women in this book. I found this book in a secondhand bookstore in the outskirts of Manchester, so that was a little bit special, but it can go into the world. So I think those are the books. I hope I didn't forget something in the mess that was like filming this in 2 parts and messing the piles up. If I did forget something, I will insert it now. I will have to figure out what to do with these books, so there will be some groups. As I said, 5 of them are going to my niece, then some of them I will be keeping on hand for the book swap, and then I have 2 secondhand bookstores that I sell books to. One of them is like, you look it up what they're selling in their catalog and you pack it and you bring it to them or ship it to them. The second one, I can bring anything, but I have to go in person, so it's a whole ordeal. Also, some of them I might just like donate to someone or swap with someone outside of the book swap event. So yeah, I will try to get rid of most of these, you know, and just keep a little bit of them on hand. And yes, before we go, I will show you the final shelves. By this point, it's basically time to dust them again, because I didn't even dust all of them, but even the ones that I dusted, like, it's been a couple of weeks, so we might as well dust everything again, and we will do a super quick bookshelf tour because there's not much shelf space left. Right, I completely forgot to talk about how, like, why I'm actually getting rid of almost all of my books or all of my books this year. So let's do a quick, hopefully fun segment, because my camera battery is charging right now. This is something that I've been thinking about for a few years. Also, I have mentioned it on my channel that I have been thinking about moving from this place, and right now it's becoming kind of more and more probable. There's nothing really horribly wrong with this apartment, like I'm not being, chased out for some reason, like, well, we will see in July, but yeah, we kind of have a long-standing relationship by this point with the owner company, because I have been here for almost 5 years, and I have just been feeling increasingly that it is time for me to move on. And so even though I have been thinking about it for a couple of years, if everything goes well, I would be happy to leave this place either late 2026 or early 2027. And it is connected with some things that annoyingly I can't really talk about publicly right now, but basically, if things go well, it could include not immediately moving to a new place. So that is the main reason why I would be, it would be really good to just get rid of most of my things, so I don't really have to store a lot of things somewhere. And obviously, if this ends up happening, or I have some news that I can talk about publicly, you will learn about it. It's also a situation that is very precarious, so if anything goes a little bit wrong with my finances or my health, mostly, it might not be possible. So it's why I'm kind of like, doing it a bit more slowly, not getting rid of all of my stuff yet, because yeah, as I said, if it happened, it would be more like late 2026, so we still have many more months to go, but I'm just, starting the process and not holding on to things unnecessary, so that if the time comes, I have a much easier job. And as I said, there is nothing like really wrong with this apartment, although this year I feel like the universe is giving me some signs, because like in January, when there was freezing weather, we had like minus 10, 13 Celsius, the heating went broken for a week, and yeah, it took them a week to fix it. And then like a week ago, there was a water accident in the apartment above me. So like suddenly I had like the service people knocking on my door and being like, hey, let's like watch your ceiling if like some water will come through. And like in the end, nothing happened, but as you can imagine, it kind of disrupted my day. And also like while I was sitting here and like waiting if some water will like appear and like start ruining my things or whatever, because like I wasn't really told like what the extent of the damage is. It was very chaotic. So I was just thinking like, would I be super upset if like my books were destroyed, like specifically because yeah, I was in the middle of the unhaul process. And yeah, I realized that I don't really own any like special editions. I don't own books that I'm like super attached to, like to the physical copy, like this specific copy that, I wouldn't be able to replace if it could get damaged. And then, yeah, I realized that I would probably be the most upset about the books I haven't read, the new books, because, yeah, like obviously they are the TBR, they are the more exciting. Also, a lot of them were gifts. So, like, I would definitely be sad if those get damaged, but, like, I wouldn't be, like, devastated. And, yeah, when it comes to my read books, which, by this point I only own my favorites, but like all of them are replaceable. I don't think I own anything that like I would be devastated to lose. So that was interesting to think about. I don't know if it makes me cold or like an outlier in the book community, probably a little bit, but I'm just not super attached to like the physical objects that books are, and like to the specific copies that I own. For the most part, right, there might be some exceptions, and I do have some like childhood books at my parents' house, which are more nostalgic, obviously. So like at the end of the day, like if something happened to my stuff, like I would be more upset about the things that would like disrupt my life and functionality the most, which would be like my electronics and like my clothing, because like I'm not attached to my clothing, but I have a lot of sensory issues around like the fabric and the fit. And so the process of like finding a wardrobe that is functional is long, and it is definitely still ongoing. So like if all of the things that currently work for me got damaged, like replacing that wouldn't just be like a super quick process of going to the nearest store, so that would just disrupt my life a lot. Also, like kitchen stuff, like replacing all of that would, you know, be quite expensive, like, and it would disrupt my life because I cook all of my meals. So again, the grand scheme of things, like if my books got damaged, it would be sad, but not like world ending. So it was just really interesting perspective to gain during the unhaul process. And also I think a lot of the time the process of getting rid of things, at least for me, is often connected to scarcity mindset, which I think is super common for people who grew up low income like me. And yeah, scarcity mindset is just something that I'm very much trying to keep in the past because it's just not helpful at all. And I see it in some people around me, you know, like in my family. And yeah, the fact that like I'm getting rid of some books, like it doesn't mean that like if I really want to buy them some years down the line, I can't. Like, yeah, I can get to the stories in one way or another. But anyway, this is getting a bit too long. So yeah, there probably will be more waves of getting rid of books as I read them and reread them, and eventually like there will probably be some vlogs of me getting rid of most of my possessions, you know, if things go well. So fingers crossed, and hopefully you will stick around for that. Okay, I didn't reshuffle much, so just very quickly, the top is basically the same probably. I redusted everything. It's so annoying how you just have to dust all of the time. So yeah, here remains the TBR. The 2 new books that I got at the book swap are Convenience Store Woman and Lessons in Chemistry. Quite excited about both of these. And then here are the books that I have read that are staying for now. So we have The Little Prince that I have read in Czech, but I want to read it in Spanish. Then we have some favorites. Then we have some books that I might reread and then unhaul in the next wave. With Emily Wilde, I'm waiting in the library queue to get to the second book, so for now I'm keeping the first one. And then over here I have a couple of non-fictions that I had some tabs in, or I want to decide if I want to keep them for reference. So I kind of just need to go through them, and I didn't feel like doing that during this round, which is completely fine because we have time and you don't have to get rid of everything in one swoop. Also with this one, More Than a Best Friend, I thought that I would be unhauling it during this wave, but I just ordered book 2 in the series and I will get it for a store credit mostly. I will pay like 50 cents, which is lovely. So just keeping this one in case I want to reread either before or after I read the second one. It is the kind of loose series, so you know, it's either way. So as you can see, for now I still have some books left. We will see what happens during the next waves, and I think I'm getting rid of 21 books this time around. Also, I cleared up this whole cube, which will come in handy for household stuff because I don't really have any storage solution other than these cubes really, and like a small chest of drawers. So I will probably move some household stuff here. And that is the unhaul. It feels very cleansing, especially getting rid of most of the books from TBR 0, not going to lie. So yeah, we are all new and refreshed. Let me know if you have emotional connections to the books you own. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!